You had to take them back to the shop.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll call
they
to
added a
order
couple there after that, yeah.
the Ways and Means Committee meeting of Peoria County for Monday, April 25th. It's 3:30 p.m. So we'll start by making a motion for the approval of the minutes of January 24th, 2022. So I need a motion to put this on the floor. Jennifer for the first and Junior for the second. Any comments, corrections, changes to the minutes? Letting Jan off easy because she does a great job over here doing minutes. So
She does.
with that, all in favor of approval of the minutes with the sign of aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed with nay? All right, passes unanimously. We'll move to the informational items, reports, other minutes, updates. The first one is the county clerk's office. We have Ms. Parker here, so she does have a report, and I'll ask her if she has comments and things she'd like to supplement.
No, I think you've got a pretty good detailed list as usual, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Okay, so committee, we've got the collections and transaction report, and we have the property tax rate report. Any questions from the committee members on either one of these two reports? I think looking at the collections and transaction reports, it looks like we're doing well. We're overall kind of ahead of plan, which is great. The property tax rate report, this is always something that's a topic that we'd like to talk about. No one wants taxes, but I'd like to ask Mr. Sorrell maybe to comment on kind of the history of our tax levy and our work that we have done on the tax.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So you've got that report in the packet. It's obviously prepared by the clerk's office, and it shows for us each taxing body a similar report is prepared by the clerk's office. You'll note that based on the change in EAV, and this is really what this report shows, is there's that rate adjustment in the middle columns. Obviously, when you adopt the budget and the levy ordinance in the fall, the final EAV has not been completely done by Dave's office and has not been sent to the Department of Review for their approval either. And so this report, just for everyone's benefit, shows if there is a change in what we thought the EAV was going to be when you adopted the levy ordinance and what the final extension or the rate setting EAV is going to be, that's where it comes up. And you'll see here that we were able to make a small adjustment while still keeping the rate flat based on the increase in property values. And what we've done is we've put a little bit of money in the Headington Oaks side to get it to the maximum levy that you had adopted, which is 6 pennies. It's an extra $9,854. And then the rest of the change in property tax revenue due to property value increases, that $125,000 and change goes into the general fund. And historically, that's how we've done things. Just as a quick side note for the committee, just as a refresher, and I'm quickly just looking at a spreadsheet that I have that goes back to tax year 2008 payable in 2009. So well more than a decade at this point. You've been consistent in keeping the rate at a very low level. It's 82.41 pennies, and you only increased it from 80.5 pennies to 82.41 when the voters approved a non-binding referendum in the 2016 election cycle related to the Veterans Assistance Commission and the Care and Treatment Board. Prior to that, you hovered around between 81 cents and 80.5 cents. So kudos to the policymakers for your long standing history of managing our share of the tax bill, which on average, depending on where you live in Peoria County, is going to be 11 to 13% of your total tax bill.
Okay. Thank you, Scott, for presenting that. And I guess I also want to echo, as one of the policymakers, a thank you to Team Peoria County, because you're the ones that do the work and get the job done. And we've been able to hold tax levy, as Scott articulated, really since 2008 till today, pretty flat, pretty minimal. So, we have not increased tax on the taxpayers from a levy standpoint. So again, it's a lot of work. It's about 11% of a typical property tax that a taxpayer pays on their property today. This comes to the county. So again, more of a transparency and a thank you for the members of Peoria, Team Peoria, as far as what they're doing. With that, any other questions about the clerk's report before we move on? All right, thank you. We will now move to the next item, which is the County Election Commission, and we have Mr. Bride. So, do we need microphones, Gretchen, or can we pick up the sound?
I can yell.
He can yell, or he can get closer to the.
There's a puck in there.
Is it plugged? Okay.
I can move up a little bit.
All right, thank you.
Just a couple things. We're still implementing our new voting system. We've got a couple events coming up for that. On Thursday, we're going to have a mock election. That's an internal. We're going to bring judges in and us, and we're going to walk all the way through an election in the new voting system to make sure that we've got everything worked out, and to try to also evaluate where we may have some hiccups or where we have some areas that we need to straighten out on process. We do have a press event on Friday. We're going to bring press in and show off the new voting system to them. Our election judge training starts next week. It's scheduled for 2 straight weeks, and then we typically have several more makeup election judge trainings, probably all the way into June. Voting for the primary starts May 19th. That's the first day of early voting in our office, and it's the first day we'll mail vote by mail ballots domestically. We do have a handful of military and overseas ballots. They actually go out about 6 days before that. But so we're in the process of implementing the new voting system and the new electronic poll books, working through all those processes. It's time consuming. It's a dramatic departure for us. We had electronic equipment, so we have an all paper based system. We're dealing with supply chain issues like everybody else on some of those supplies. And so, but we're working through it, pretty comfortable with where we're at right now. And anybody has any questions for me?
Any questions for Mr. Bright and our election
Now on
commission?
Thursday, that's open to the public.
It is not. The mock election's just for us.
Just for you.
It's a process for us to go all the way through the election, so that we can start all the way through and see where we have issues. We actually, a couple of the staff went up to DuPage County in, I want to say late February. They did a mock election in the same process. Ours is going to be a little bit, theirs was more focused on the election day in the polling place to see. We're going to try to go all the way through. So we'll have both early voting and election day voting, which are actually a little bit different processes for us. And then we'll be just scanning, and we plan to do tabulation and everything. So.
Jennifer?
There is an event Friday, though. Is that the one you were thinking of?
See, I knew I read something in my.
So we're having a press event Friday to bring the press in to show the system to them.
And what time is that?
Gretchen? 11? Yeah, I knew we moved it. So yeah, so 11.
Good opportunity for the public to understand the new equipment. I think it's pretty straightforward, but intimidating if you're not used to it.
And we do have some other events lined up. I know we've got several libraries we're going to later in May, and we've done some other outreach. We were actually at Bradley University this weekend getting some registrations done, and then we actually were able to recruit some college election judges. So.
Nice.
And if anybody wants to be an election judge, we're always recruiting election judges. Although most of you have,
most of us can't be.
right?
most of you have an excuse.
Not here.
Exactly.
All right. Other questions for Mr. Bright? All right. Well, thank you, Tom. Now we will move into the Supervisor of Assessments Order Review. Dave, Brian, you're on stage.
Yeah,
Sir.
not too much to report this time. We're working on our 2022 valuations as we wait. Still in a cold thunder, but as we wait for tax bills to go out soon, so that'll generate some calls up front. But otherwise, as I mentioned before, 2022 we're on a 3-year average when we're valuing properties. So that's 2022 we'll be using sales from 19, 20, and 21. So you're going to start seeing increases in individual assessments, especially for residential property, because if you look at what happened in 2020 and 2021 as far as sales go, and if you're continually following the market, things are selling pretty quickly, and they're selling for quite a bit more than we've got them assessed at. So it's going to be hard for us to keep up with that. So really, probably 2023, which happens to be our total reassessment year, there could be some significant increases in assessed values. So remember that as we go through the property tax rate, that you may experience increases in EAV, so that a stable rate will increase the values of people's tax bills. So that will play a part. We were contacted also, we're not going to bring the resolution forward until next month, but we were contacted by Radnor Township. They could not find an assessor, so we will, they want to contract with the county, so I should be bringing that forward next month. So other than that, that's all we've got.
Questions from the committee? All good? Mr.
I'm
Pennell?
just a little concerned when you started, we're gonna use the data from 19, 20, and 21.
I heard the same
Not that
thing.
data.
I heard the
If I
same
said that,
Someone was
no,
paying
no,
attention to him,
It's
huh?
gonna be 2020 and 2021. So,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
I heard the
figured
same
out
thing,
what-
Jim. I heard it, yeah.
People would like that, so.
I'm hearing it drop.
All right. Any other clarifications or corrections for Dave? No. All right. Well, thank you, Dave, for the
Thank you.
update. Now we'll move to the other side of the tax world, the treasurer, Ms. Bjorky, probably will give us an update on tax bills and such. So all yours.
First of all, I don't know how many of you have been in my office, but I have 4 employees plus me. And back in March, I lost 2 of my employees, so I lost 50% of my staff. I was lucky, and I was able to find 2 people to fill those positions. One of the positions is my chief deputy. This is my new chief deputy. This is Sean Crable.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome, Sean.
So he started, this is his first, or last week was his first full week, full time, so yay, just in time for taxes. Yes, tax bills are at the printer right now. They can go out as early as Wednesday and no later than Friday. And to go along with that, most of you know that I was working with the city of Peoria regarding their tax collection for the city of Peoria Township. On March 22nd, we entered into an intergovernmental agreement. So the city of Peoria treasurer is no longer going to be collecting taxes. It's all coming to here. There will be a flyer in the city of Peoria tax bills stating that they're not going to be collecting anymore and that they need to contact our office or send it to our office. In addition, we picked up 3 banks that was collecting for the city that's now going to be collecting for the county. So we've established those relationships. So if anybody asks you, there wasn't anything wrong. It's good stuff. It's going to save the taxpayers money, and it's a good lean government. You know, we're duplicating services, so it's a good thing. Mobile home bills are still outstanding. They are due May 3rd, and we're still working very diligently on the new finance system. So these all-day meetings are rough, as Heather can attest to. So, any questions?
Questions, Mr. Pennell?
That the city they had the 2 installments, right? They used to collect twice.
Yes.
That's the only one that did.
Yes.
And they're
They're
no longer,
done.
they're done? Okay.
Mhm.
So what kind of percentage did they have? I think we went over that one year.
They, every year was going down and down, and so like 5 years ago it was 32 million, and this last year it was 15 million. So to put that in perspective, the county collects about 295 million. So, and this is done at no additional cost to the city. The only thing I'm going to ask from the city is that they pay for the insert in the tax bill, because that's going to cost us.
I think it's good collaboration between the city and the county to work that out and find a good solution. So kudos to you and your counterpart over here at the city on making that work. Jennifer?
Given that people don't always catch those extra flyers, or is a release going to go out or anything else
Yeah,
to
release-
notify people of the change?
We'll be sending out a release that the tax bills are being issued, and then in that release there will be
Okay.
a snippet of that it's going, they're not going to be collecting anymore. We'll have the flyer, and then anybody who goes to City Hall, they'll be told to come over here. Anybody that mails their payment to City Hall, the city's going to bring it over to us, and then they're going to mail them a letter saying, please note, you now need to send your payments to the county treasurer.
And they'll take care of that?
Is there anything on the tax bill at all telling people where to, or is it too very?
On the back of the tax bill, it does say township collectors, except for City of Peoria. And then on the front of the tax bill, there's the township collectors' addresses, and the City of Peoria now reads Peoria County Treasurer.
So, Bill, the tax statement will actually show that for a City of Peoria taxpayer, it will show the county's mailing address and collection address. So it sounds like you've done almost everything. Like you say, any press release or any communication would be great.
We will do that. We'll get that out this week.
Okay. And other questions from the committee? All right. I know you commented on the ERP system training and implementation. I know that's a big project for all the members of the, and some of them more than others. I'm looking over here. Our CFO probably knows that all well. Welcome to the team. Glad for taking that one on.
Anything related to the general ledger or money, it's a big deal.
Yeah. But again, if we do it right, which is what I know you're doing.
We're trying.
It'll be a lot better once it's up and running a year from now, right? We're about a year away from go live. January 23. So again, that's a recognition for all of the people in the background working this. I know they love sitting in all-day meetings, so thank you for not wanting to do that. Sean, welcome to the team. Glad to have you on board here and helping out. Right. With that, we will move on to Veterans Assistance Commission. I see Mr. Brooks is here. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. So I did turn in my numbers. So I will go over a few big numbers that, so Trish had a lump sum payment to a widow for $445,000. Yeah, she broke my record, but I'm not bitter at all.
You just brought it up first thing, but that's all right.
Saying. So, and then I had one for $153,000 for a veteran, and then the VSO had another one for $110,000 for one of his veterans. So I want to go a couple things. So Walk-In Wednesday is Wednesday. I want to point out, it's not in my report, but we had roughly about 208 veterans that walked in. So that's the highest number since COVID. So we used to get well over 300, almost 400 sometimes, but we're never going to get to that number again because we do everything digital signature now. So if a veteran has to come in and it's got to be a fully developed claim, like it's very complicated, that's the only time that they're really going to come in to sign. So we send a link to their phone and they sign digitally. Now if they're a World War II vet or Korean War vet, they're obviously going to come in. So we're not going to have as many veterans coming in the office, but we set a record for new claims, which was 147, and we've never even gone over 100. So we're way busier. It's just not going to show in how many veterans come in our office. So if you have any questions for me.
Questions for Mr. Brooks? All right, it's always good to make sure we're serving and providing that assistance to the veterans. I know that's something that Peoria County put in place years ago, and I think it's well set. So thank you for that and your team. With that, that's the end of informational. We have no resolutions this month for this committee. So miscellaneous is the last item. So we'll ask, do we have any miscellaneous topics to bring up? Anyone want to volunteer to help do the ERP system? Any board members have spare time? Okay. I guess with no miscellaneous, we'll adjourn. Thank you very much.
I've been volunteered to too many committees this week.
Because you've got to learn to show up to meetings so you can apply.
Well, then they just